to get back to shape to where you are, but take it slow.
Okay.
The biggest issue we've been having in the gyms is that we have mothers who've come, they were size 8, they've gone all the way to 14, they want to go back to 7. It doesn't happen
Immediately after baby.
So you find people who've had, especially like new mothers,
Yes.
young ladies who are new mothers, they tend to have knee injuries because you want to push yourself so hard so that you can be able to go back to the figure that you are in. You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot fit into the jeans that you used to wear. It's gradual.
Okay.
Build it up.
All
Build it
right.
up. Yes.
Now, we will get to the discussion of how it is that celebrities make it possible to shrink in a week or two or a month or two and make the rest of us feel bad about ourselves. But before we do, let's give you a break to actually just have a breather and bring in our nutritionist. Now, it is definitely obvious that it takes nutrition and exercise for you to have the best results, for you to go back to the genes we're talking about, yeah? So let's start with post or rather pre-pregnancy or during the pregnancy period. What is it that you need to keep in mind in as far as eating is concerned so that you help your body along?
Thank you, Gladys. One thing that most people need to realize, and especially for the women, when it comes to your pregnancy, that is the part where we call family planning. Because when it's not about preventing the pregnancy as we all say it,
Yeah.
but family planning is you and your spouse making a decision that we want to be parents, and this is what we are going to do.
Yeah.
So for the woman, it's very important, the same way it's important for the man. And it's all about conception. It's about you conceiving. So you find in most cases, I think for 98%, we just fall pregnant.
Yeah.
And we assume we can just carry the pregnancy into term. But the whole idea is before you fall pregnant, you have to visit your gyna, and your gyna is going to assess if your body is perfect for that pregnancy. Meaning, we have to find out if you have any deficiencies. Look at us growing up. Do we care about our diets? Our diets are high in fat, they're high in sugar, they're high in salt and all that. Do we eat fruits enough? We don't eat any fruits. So you might find that you have 1 or 2 deficiencies, and that is very important so that we prepare your body for the pregnancy. The preparation is a very important part for you to carry the pregnancy to term and to ensure that you're going to have the bundle of joy, a healthy baby. So what usually happens, and I'll give you a very good example. We call it an intergenerational vicious cycle where you are an obese mother or you're a small mother, you carry the pregnancy, you give birth to either a small baby, a baby too small for the gestational period, or you give birth to an obese baby, you translate into, the baby translates to an obese or a small adolescent. It becomes a vicious cycle simply because we do not work on the before we fall pregnant. So what the gyna needs to assess is your body able to carry the baby? One, we look at your weight. Are you underweight? Or if you're obese, do we need to get you back to the normal weight? If you're underweight, we need to find a way to make sure that you're within the normal weight. Then at the same time, we need to know your iron status. Majority of us, you go to the hospital, you're told you're anemic. I mean, you look like you're fine, but you have issues. I feel I have dizzy spells, loss of appetite and all that. That one simply means that you cannot carry that baby to term. And you see, when you're pregnant, the infant depends on your body. Everything and anything that infant needs will come from your body.
So are you saying when I'm having the dizzy spells, I can't eat, I can't keep food in my tummy, is not your usual, pregnancy symptoms? It could actually be a telltale sign of something else?
Yes, it could be a telltale sign that you're anemic. So by the time you get to the doctor, and that is why the doctor usually, the test which will be done just to ensure that you are in the right frame, you're able to carry the baby to term. Because the other thing is, we really try to avoid complications that come with a pregnancy. And complications means that you can have a stillbirth, you can lose the baby along the way, and then you'll be asking yourself so many questions, what happened? And at the same time, you need to also understand, when I want to conceive, what is it that is going to give me that energy? So when it comes to nutrition, it is very simple. We have to advise the mothers on what they need to eat. We have to advise the father, you're going to conceive. Are you able to give us a healthy sperm?
Okay.
Is the mother able to produce the eggs? Because we are depending on your ovulation also. So all that has to come into place, and it all starts with you being healthy, and it all starts with what you eat. And you see, what I usually say, you're what you eat.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you eat junk food, that is exactly how your body will be. If you have a healthy diet, then that changes a lot of things for you.
Okay.
So for the baby to be supported, it needs a perfect environment.
Okay, so Joanne, at this point, 3 kids later, this is the third one that you'll be having. Is what the nutritionist is saying making sense to you, and have you learned over the pregnancies to make it better?
Yeah, I do concur with her. Thank you, Gladys. Diet, okay, in pregnancy you really can't diet, but you have to watch what you eat.
Yeah.
Though sometimes with the hormonal changes, you're unable to actually eat what you'd like to eat to be healthy throughout the pregnancy because of, morning things like morning sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah, you become, there's, like I went through a hyperemesis gravidum, which is extreme morning sickness in my first trimester, and lost quite some weight. So I was not able to like take anything. I would eat vegetables, I'd puke it. I would eat fruits, I would puke.
And
So
this
the
is
only-
with your first child? This
my
one?
third, yes.
Okay.
My first, I just had the normal morning sickness, and it ended by 12 weeks. My second, I had no morning sickness. It was
Okay.
just a smooth pregnancy all through.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but this one has proved to be more difficult. I don't know if it has something to do with age. I don't know if Belinda can
Yeah.
talk about that.
And we're
or,
talking
the-
about age and nutrition
yes,
too.
'cause,
Yeah.
now of course it's been almost 10 years since I had my first.
Ah.
Yeah, so I feel like this pregnancy has been more strenuous on my body compared to when I had my first and my second before I turned 30 years.
Okay.
Yes, so yeah, I was extremely sick and I tried to eat. I went to hospital, I was given medication and water, but it didn't work. So I kept losing weight. So I had to be on supplements now, on tablets,
Yes.
which helped me. So on my second trimester, I started eating some vegetables and some fruits, which I've been eating up to now. I still can't eat proteins like meat, chicken, but at least I'm with the vegetables. They're able to give me the vitamins and the energy that I need for every day. So the baby is doing fine. Yeah. So
All right, and also it's good to inform people that there is proteins that can be found in your cereals too,
yes.
the lentils and what have you, and you'll be giving us more on the same. Now for you, Lillian, 3 months with a baby. Is this your first?
No,
This is your?
second.
You guys are experienced in these things. Eh? Okay, but the question here is, as Dr. is saying, it is important, the nutritionist is saying, it's important to be aware of what you eat during pregnancy. And now, of course, it's important after pregnancy because of the baby.
Yeah.
Now, why are you keen about it when you are carrying the baby?
Yeah, okay. At first, I can say what the nutritionist has said. It's
Yes.
true because I lost the second pregnancy, so this
yes,
kind of it's the third one. And when I was carrying this child, I had low calcium and low HB.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to watch what you eat.
Yeah. Okay, so you actually had a specific diet throughout the pregnancy?
Yes.
Okay, to keep the child healthy and yourself. All right, now you will tell us how life has been after baby, because of course we know all the myths that come with you're eating for 2, you should do this and that, and of course also a bit of some of the pregnancy experiences you've had that we've had before about eating stones and what have you, and you'll tell us if that means there's something lacking in your body. Of course, as we're still having the conversation on fitness and nutrition for pre and post pregnancy, in studio, gym instructor, nutritionist, and the 2 mothers will be coming back to tell us more on the same. Stay with NTV today. Okay, so what else can we do?
Okay. So I want us to, now for her, I'll excuse her for this.
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
So we're going to do some lunges. Okay.
Yeah.
Just nothing too, just take it down.
Okay.
No, push your knee in front, so just going down. So you use your body, keep your chest out as you go down. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. And down. And up, let's go. 2, very good. 3, good job. 4, good. 5, 6, give me 4 more. 7, good job. 8, good. 9, thank you, Gladys, and 10, good job.
of course, a great discussion here, even as we understand some of the things we need to do and some of the things we need not to do, even as the mothers are going through the pre and post pregnancy period. And still with me in studio, we have Joanne Ogutu. He's a mother of 3 and carrying her 3rd pregnancy. She's actually at her 8th month. Yeah, and of course Lillian Modoni, who is a mom to a 3-month-old baby and has another child, and we have Belinda Nyakiti, who is a nutritionist, and Anthony Maina, personal trainer and fitness instructor. Thank you guys for joining me today. Now, before we went to break, we were just talking about the different forms of exercises, definitely, and the foods that we need to keep in mind. Before we get to the food, Anthony, back to you. Somebody is watching Joanna and thinking, again, too late into her pregnancy to be engaging into these things, but you're saying it's safe as long as you're taking yourself slowly.
Yes.
So what parts of her body should she be engaging to ensure that after baby, she will not have such a hard time bouncing back, so to speak?
Okay, so basically now in both cases actually is the midsection, the pelvic area. Remember, as you're carrying your pregnancy, that is weight that is lying on your pelvic region. So you need to basically build the strength within the pelvic region. So any workout that targets your pelvic region, your midsection, that will be perfect workout for you. So you can do your what you call bird dog exercises, you can do your glutes bridge exercises that will keep you going and running. And those exercises on those particular parts will be able to ensure that whenever you're bouncing back into full recovery, those are the exercises that will also target back whenever you're working out.
And these are exercises you can do in the confines of your home, right?
Yes, you can actually do with a simple mat or with just a basic carpet. You can still be able to do those exercises at home. If you feel comfortable working with somebody who's watching over you, that's a gym instructor, you can still be able to come into the gym, get a mat, and you can do them, but you can do them at home also. Yes.
Joanne, do you go to a gym or do you exercise at home?
I go to the gym, but with this pregnancy, I've not really gone to the gym as much, but I do exercise. I do squats, especially in my bathroom, and I also walk. I think walking is also exercise, yes.
So it's just physical walking on the treadmill?
No, physical, not on the treadmill. Yes, I try and walk at least 2 kilometers. Twice or thrice a week.
Okay. Yeah. With this being your 3rd child, has exercises during pregnancy actually helped in adjusting back after baby?
With the previous pregnancies?
Yes.
With my 2nd, I did go to the gym, and I lost some weight. Yes, the only difficult thing losing was, as he said, the midsection, which is really challenging after giving birth for many wwomen.
Yes.
So that was my only area that was the only area that gave me difficulties. Otherwise, I went back to my pre-pregnancy weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're very lucky. Not many people actually go back to their pre-pregnancy weight, which brings in Lillian. Now, with a baby now, and of course you have another one, as she's saying, the biggest hurdle is losing the midsection. And we've had about kukandwa, you've had about tying with lassos, others do the belts and all that. Did you do any of that to lose your midsection?
No.
What did you do?
Nothing. I just exercise in the house and I walk a lot.
What do you engage in?
Walking and just walking.
Really?
Yes.
That's what actually helped you?
Yeah.
But then again, they say we all are different and we'll respond to different exercises, and our metabolism is also very different. Let's bring in the nutritionist. The reason why I brought up the tying of the tummy is because, for real, it works for others, it doesn't work for others. I'm one of those it worked for. For 1 week, I tied, and for some reason, as I said, it's normally gas that's left in there, and if it's gone, for some, they snap back. But for some, they struggle. What do you think is the issue here? Because it's not only the physical that we're thinking about, there's also the food that's involved, right? So what are the intricacies here?
Okay, first and foremost, I think it's more of a myth that after you had the baby, then you have to tie. And I think I used to see it back in the days. Our aunties used to have babies, and the next thing everybody is getting a lasso and tying it so tight. Please remember, you went through childbirth. Your vessels, your muscles, your tissues are raw. They need to heal. So the moment you're doing all that, you're bringing in a lot of complications. And you find that at some point you'll always be complaining about your back has not healed. You'll be complaining your tummy is still aching. And simply it's because of the pressure you've put into it. And talking of that, we have the new thing, the trimmers.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, everybody's having a baby. The next thing they come, they're like, oh, I've been trying to use this. I need to get my midsection back. I mean, you've just had a baby. It's a sign of fertility. It's the best thing that happened to you. So what, and guess what? It took you 9 months to get there. And what was your previous weight before that? So we have to look into all those things. And I would really, really discourage a lot of people from using the tummy trimmers, trying to tie their tummies, because one, remember you have organs in there. And those organs, the moment you tie it, you displace the organs. The same way you have your blood vessels running all over your body. What happens? You constrict them. So you have a very high chance of even forming blood clots, which can tend to be very dangerous. And I mean, take your time. You did not build your Rome in one day. So it is something that has to happen slowly. And you look at, the other thing is, when you're pregnant, we eat for two, right?
Is what we are told, to eat for two.
You're eating for two.
Yes.
It is a myth. How much do you need? During your first trimester, more or less what you have, because we have already worked on the family planning, the pre, with your gyna, and we know that where the deficiencies were. And the moment you go to the gyna and say, I want to fall pregnant, we put you on supplementation, which is folic supplementation, simply to build your blood capacity so that you're not anemic. And we're also looking at any other deficiency you'll have. If you're anemic, then we go for what we call the iron folic supplementation, simply to cover up for your iron stores and to carry out for your folate stores. Because one, when you're pregnant, the infant's blood capacity is built around yours. So we have to increase your volume. Secondly, if you're anemic, your infant is probably, the infant never lacks. That is one, the fetus will never lack.
Because they're getting everything from you.
They're getting everything from you. So who remains with the deficiency? It is you. And remember, any deficiency the mother is going to carry into the pregnancy is going to determine now the outcome
of the baby.
So if you're deficient of folate, what happens? We have neural birth defects, which we normally refer to as spina bifida. We have you having a preterm baby. We have things that the baby is not growing. The baby has what we call intrauterine growth retardation. You're pregnant, but your fetus is not growing. So all those things are surrounding your nutrition. What are you eating? What are you putting in place? About losing that weight, it will come naturally, because how much weight are you? That is why we have to work very close with pregnant women. I know if you're in a normal weight, you carry about 10 to 12.5 kilos. By the time you have the baby, the placenta will be counted out.
The water.
The water will be out. The blood, plus the baby will be out. Probably you'll have lost, by that time you'll have shed the 10, so you're remaining with the 2.5, which needs to go away.
So they say that is actually the case. The issue is what happens in between. So everything is out and now you are nursing a newborn. Now what you eat is what determines. So now let's talk about the nitty-gritties as to why some people end up not being able to lose the baby fat or add on even more baby fat. So what should you consider putting on your plate so that it's good for you and the baby that you're nursing, but you also make sure that you don't add too much?
So a very good example is when I had my child and my grandmother had to run to me and tell me, you know what, because you're breastfeeding, you need to produce more milk. So what do? You have to have 3 flasks, one with soup, one with porridge, one with tea, with something boiling somewhere, and I have to constantly eat. You know, after every 15 minutes, you need to eat, you need to eat. Guess what? You're sedentary. Whatever you're taking it in, you're not burning it out, you gain the weight. By the time you're going back to work, and you remember after 3 months, you're required to go back to work, you're trying to fit into the clothes, your size 8 clothes. Nothing is happening. So the thing is, you cannot, once you're pregnant, you will only eat what is required in your diet. And the most important for us, you must take a balanced diet. A balanced diet simply constitutes of your starch, your protein, and your protein is the animal and plant protein. And then where you get your micronutrients, you have fruits and vegetables, where we get our vitamins and minerals. So what happens is you simply need to look at what are we going to add on top of that. Because you need to build your blood capacity. We are relying on our animal proteins and the plant proteins. And more, if you're not able to, the way she's not able to take in animal proteins, you can work with your lentils and your legumes and all that. And the most important one, you call it kamande. Kamande should be number 1 in your diet because it's rich in iron and it will almost give you as much as what you're going to get from your red meats.
What is kamande in English?
Lentils.
Okay, there we go. No, it's good to make sure we know these things because you go looking in the supermarket and you cannot figure out what the translation is.
The good thing about Nairobi is our mother tongue is everywhere. So when you go to the supermarket, you'll always find somebody who will show you what kamande is. So kamande should be, if you're not able to take the animal proteins, then you run to your plant proteins.
Okay.
Then at the same time, when we're looking at and this is important because of it's building up our iron status.
Okay.
And other than that, we have from our green leafy vegetables, for example, the African leafy vegetables, the terere, the managu, spinach, sukuma wiki, kanzira, all that should be part of your diet. Always look for something that you can accommodate, because when you're pregnant, we have cravings, we have moods, what can go in, what can't go in. We even have the urge of eating non-nutritional substances. For example, clay, charcoal. I even saw someone, you know, going at the back of a tree and eating the soil, the red that the termites use. Yeah,
and stones.
And stones, and it's really, and the moment they take it and you can see they're full of life and all that. But what you need to remember is whatever you're ingesting has an impact on your health. And also, when you're eating the non-nutritional substances, you'll have intestinal worms. You have a very high chance of having intestinal worms.
Now, while we're still on that conversation, why is it that pregnant women crave this? Because this seems to be our universal thing.
It is a deficiency.
Of what?
Either your iron, your calcium, your folates, or generally your vitamins and minerals. It is simply, we more or less look at it like a bad habit in nutrition, because you generally don't need it. If you're having a balanced diet, then you don't need to go for all these things. But you find your mind will tell you, I need to eat fries every day. I need to eat this every day. But can we stop a pregnant woman? We can't. But what we need to do is more and more of the counseling and trying to figure out each and every time. We'll always give advice what you can use other than taking the non-nutritive substances into your diet, because they have no benefit into the body. There's nothing that they're adding to the fetus or to you.
Okay, so the take home at this point is that if you're craving, then that means something is missing in your body. You need to talk to your gyna, figure out what it is. Joanne?
Yes, about the stones, I started craving them very recently. I think last month. So just on one day, I was just sitting at home and I felt a very, an urge to have them. So I called my husband and told him, please bring me these stones. Go to the supermarket. No, in fact, I asked where I can buy, because I was not sure if
it's available.
It's available anywhere. And someone told me, you can get it at the supermarket, any Tuskys, Naivas. So I sent my husband and he brought me in the evening. And when I ate, I felt so good. So I knew for sure I was lacking something in my body. So when I went for my next ANC, I told my gynecologist, I've been eating stones for the past 2-3 weeks. So I know something is definitely wrong with me. So please
and what did
me.
he say?
He told me most likely I was I had some calcium deficiency. So I was put on more supplements, iron and calcium. And when I continued taking them, then the craving also went down. So now I don't take them. I just took that one pack. Okay. Yes, I finished it.
And you're sure they're not hidden somewhere just in case?
No. But I'm seeing them on the screen and I'm like,
and you want some. All right.
No.
Lillian, did you have any cravings during any of your pregnancies?
Yes, I did for about 4 months. I could ask for those stones. I could dip them in the water and drink the water, but I didn't eat the stone.
The stone itself,
Yeah.
you just drink the water.
Yes.
Okay, you know now, like when it rains and you see them running outside to smell the stones, is that the same thing?
Yes, it is. It is usually a deficiency.
And somebody watching would be thinking, a woman in Ushago, probably they don't have the, you know, the privilege to go to hospital, get all these things that you're talking about, and that is what helped them through. What would you say to that?
You know, the best thing about the current world is in the communities we have developed centers, and we have the community, the community workers going around the homes, and they're able to identify all those mothers who are pregnant, and out of that, all those women have been put on iron folic supplementation, and they have a record, and they're also advised. And you see, the beauty of being up country is you plant your vegetables there, you're able to get your milk every day and all that. So generally, it's just getting the information, having the knowledge, and knowing what to do with it. But unfortunately, we have the attitudes and practices that we are brought up with. This is what you have to put in store. If you're pregnant, you're not supposed to eat this. For example, for a long time, we're being told if you're eating eggs and you're pregnant, or eating chicken, you're going to have a very big baby, or eating matoke, you're going to have a very big baby, and all that. All those things are myths. So yeah, because somehow, at bottom line is your body needs that. Your body has to have all the right nutrients at the right time. And a little bit on the emphasis about calcium. Most women after childbirth will complain about their backs.
Yes.
When you complain about your back, number one case is usually an indication of low calcium in your diet. Because the fetus will get its calcium from you. The source is you. So when it gets from you and you're deficient, your stores go lower. When your stores go lower, then for the women, we have a very high chance of getting osteoporosis later in life. So the only thing that you need to do is usually to increase your milk intake, which is rich in calcium. So at least make sure every day, at least 3 glasses of milk, or even if you're able to take 500 ml of milk, simply to cover up for what that is lacking, so that if the infant is drawing it from you, then you're also covered. So that by the time you have the baby, you have your baby, then you are not going to experience the back pains, and for some people their teeth even they start having dental caries, and all those,
and the wrists
and the wrists are paining, and all that. It's simply because of a deficiency which was not taken care earlier on.
Okay, now Anthony, just listening to the nutritionist and the mothers, clearly when you come to exercise, you're not only, as you said, you need to first get a go-ahead from the doctor, but it's important to also ask some of these questions, because for them to get the results they want, it needs to be in tandem with the nutrition, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what conversations do you have with mothers to ensure that you are doing this for them?
Now, in most cases, before we even if you come to our gym, the first thing that we do is we have to do an assessment. An assessment is important because we need to know some of these issues. There are parents or mothers who, when they come, they'll come with specific conditions and need to get back to that size. And I think that's where the nutritionist mentioned that the whole issue of trimmers, the tummy trimmers.
Yes.
I think it's as you said, it's a myth. Remember, your body and her body are 2 different metabolic structures. You might bounce back as fast as you did, because as you mentioned, you tied it.
I tied and breastfed.
And you went back to what you were before. But for somebody else, it's not the same, because your body has undergone a full metabolic change. Remember, like for them, they've had their first and their second and their third pregnancies. The first and the third, they're not the same.
Because the body has gone through a lot.
Yes. So you have to, that's the first thing you need to understand. You need to understand your body is not as similar as to somebody else's body. Then you have to work on it. The 3 months that you're given, yes, you'll have mothers come in with the porridge, the soup, the njahe, and all that. Yes, that is good food, but remember, you also need to do something about your physical well-being. Are you working? Remember, in our rural homes, our mothers they'll go to the shamba. Yes, you've had your baby, first week, second week, Third week, you're sitting there looking at the garden and it's not being tilled, and you're like, is the baby asleep? And then you go to the garden. So you exercise, you're doing just a small amount of physical exercise, but your body is moving.
Yeah.
So what happens to the food is now getting utilized in the body. Remember, for all the meals, and she'll attest me to that, for most of the meals that we partake, they take about 28 to 48 hours to get out of our systems.
24 to 48.
To 48 hours, depending on what you're taking.
Yeah.
So if you just had your breakfast like today,
Yeah.
by the time you're having your next breakfast tomorrow, you've had 2 meals in between. So imagine if you're having 4 more meals in the course of that day. By the time you're having your next breakfast tomorrow morning, the food is still in the system.
And plus, all you've done is sat and
Yes.
breastfed.
Yes.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you need to understand that. Once you've understood that theme, now when you come to the gym, we now can be able to tell you, yes, you need to start moving. Wake up and do something. In most cases, what you're doing is looking at the reports that they give us now from the hospital. Is if you come up with back pain, did you have the back pain before? No. Did it happen during pregnancy? Yes. So what are you taking? Are you taking the supplements? Are you taking, what meals are you taking? Then how do you build up on that? Because remember, any process of childbearing now reduces you what you call your muscle mass.
Yeah.
And it also happens to us, even if you do not have, look at parents who are as active when they're in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
On their 60s, they keep on complaining, I feel my back is, I feel like I'm slowing down, because you're reducing your muscle mass structure in your body. So what do you need to do? You need to keep it active. You need to move it. You need to start building up on it. So if it's your hip, you need to build up on that. Start building up on it. And that's why we keep on insisting, and we tell most of the ladies that come to the gym, especially mothers, you need to do strength training. What does strength training mean? Means lift weights. Don't be afraid of lifting weights. Lift weights. Start gradual. As I said, it's a process. Build it up slowly by slowly by slowly. It reaches a point whereby you feel, I can be able to lift your 5 kg dumbbell or your 10 kg dumbbell, and you do not even feel that issue. Now, for most parents mothers who especially have started working out early in advance before their pregnancy, bouncing back to the gym is like, on the first month, they'll come and tell you, I'm back to the gym. And you're looking at them like, no, you're
not ready to come back.
Go rest. And they're telling you, no, I feel like I need to do something. And I can attest that even some of them who have been very active before their pregnancies and after their pregnancies, even the deficiencies that they're coming up of eating stones, they tell you, no, I do not even have that deficiency, because you've been able to hone your body to understand that you need to eat the right foods, keep the right limits of water whenever you're working, or push yourself to a certain limit. Then during your pregnancy, you're good to go, and you're pushing it.
So are we saying these are the secrets that we probably do not know about, and the celebrities we see probably put them to task? Because, I mean, it does not make sense. We all carry the child for 9 months. Others walk out of the hospital looking like they went to a beauty parlor, and some of us look like we were hit by a bus. I mean, what's the difference here? What are we missing?
Very true, very true. We were discussing, when we were offset, we were discussing the nutritionist, and we were saying, some of even the celebrities who come up and they tell you, I have this diet plan. I'm sorry. It's just the profit making. It's business.
But they look it.
You have to understand one thing. You being a celebrity, there's a perception how you need to look.
Okay.
And by the end of it, say for example, an actor, for you to get that role, you have to be within a certain weight. So by the time they have that baby, that weight has to come back, and it is work, work, and work. And Gladys, I am sure, some of them, when you look at them, they look malnourished. And try and take one of the diets. They're all over on the internet. Try and push that thing for 2 days. The third day, you'll be in hospital. You'll be dead flat. You know, you'll be so wasted. You'll be so confused. You know, you'll think you're dying simply because you're pushing in something, yet you don't understand how those people do it. And you see, for them, it's about the money. So for me to get the money, and because I need that role, I'll have to push myself into doing it. But, you know, do it gradually. If you need to lose that weight has to be done gradually. There's nothing about, where are we running to? Nowhere. you still need to breastfeed the baby. And you see, when you're pregnant, we do not encourage, when you're pregnant and even when you're lactating, we do not encourage a mother to go through a diet plan.
Yes.
You eat a balanced diet because your infant depends on you. Your milk production depends on the type of food that you eat. If you're eating junk food, you're simply feeding your child onto junk food. And we will notice with the growth curve of the infant is not gaining weight properly simply because you're not breastfeeding and you're not eating well. And even for you, after that, what happens? You start falling sick. You'll start getting 1, 2, 3 things. And that is simply the way now. If you push yourself onto all those extremes, our children get diabetes type 1, they become hypertensive, and even for you as a mother, it poses a very big danger for you. So the best thing is keep away the celebrity mind, and we discussed at length with the instructor, and we said, you know what, people need to get to a level where they understand some of these things. It's about making the money. Nobody will give you that magic pill to lose that weight in 2 weeks, in 1 month, and you need to fit into that wedding dress, and you need to go back to the office looking in a certain way. It cannot work out. You have to do it progressively, and especially for the pregnant women, you have to know you are within your normal weight at this particular point. This is the much that you're going to increase into your diet. This is what I'm going to focus on while I am eating so that I carry a healthy pregnancy. After the pregnancy, this is what I need to increase in my diet to ensure that my milk production is constant for the next 2 years. And what the milk that my infant is dependent, remember we are doing exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months.
It is highly encouraged.
So what happens? It is you and your milk and what you're feeding your infant.
Okay.
So all these diet plans, all these things that are put on the internet, forget about them.
Let's talk about breastfeeding and losing weight. To some, breastfeeding is a workout in itself, and it literally is, because you feel when you're breastfeeding, your muscles around your core are literally, cramping back together, and it's a very painful experience before they settle down. Joanne, how has that experience been for you? Has the breastfeeding helped you lose a bit more weight around your core?
I've actually exclusively breastfed both my kids.
Well done.
Yes, and I'm also planning to exclusively breastfeed this coming one. And what I can say is it does help the midsection contract when you, especially the first few months. Yeah. Yes, it does help. The only issue with the midsection, as I say, it's actually what you eat. Because you see, when you're breastfeeding, you feel the urge of eating and drinking.
And you're still being told eat more.
Yes, yes. But if you do eat a balanced diet, and hydrate more often, like taking water, like hot water, warm water as you breastfeed. Because really, for you to produce milk, you only need to be hydrating well. You don't need the what is it called, porridge, the thermos of soups and the porridge and njahis. You don't need that. If you drink water and you have just a positive attitude and a happy, relaxed mind, you'll be able to do it. That has been my experience.
And they say breastfeeding and milk is the law of supply and demand, and it does not like stress.
So the more you breastfeed and also express, you save some for later. The more your body will supply more. Yes. Yes. Okay. But when you don't, then definitely it will deplete. Okay. Yes, because the first few months, like let's say the first 3 months, the baby does not, I think she can attest to it, that the baby does not, they don't feed so much the first few months. So so if you just breastfeed and let it stay like that, the milk, that's why you see when mothers go back to work after 3 months, the milk normally goes on. Because you see now they're not breastfeeding. Yes. Yeah, they come and do it in the evening. But when you express some and keep hydrating yourself, it will definitely take you up to even a year.
But we cannot ignore the fact that for you to produce milk, you need to have something in you to help you produce the milk, right? Okay, so let's talk about portions. Yeah, Lillian, we have said it's not really about eating for two. It's about the portions. It's about the quality of what you eat, not your quantity. What are you normally very keen on to ensure that you don't pack on the weight, but you eat the best for your baby?
Actually, I don't watch what I eat.
Really?
For now, for the 3rd month.
Yes.
My baby has been breastfeeding a lot, mostly at night. So I eat a lot. And
Okay. So you're the for
The-
jahe, the
yes.
soups, the porridge, the everything. Bring
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a lot of milk.
Yes.
Which is a good thing. And I think this is a point where you tell us, Belinda, the portions, and I can see you have something to illustrate the same. How does your plate need to look like, and what needs to be in it to ensure that what you're taking is good for you, building you back to your well-being, and also catering for the baby you're nursing?
Okay, so first and foremost, your milk is produced here. It's not produced in your breast. And simply means that you're relaxed,
Yeah.
you have the right environment, you have a supportive partner or supportive people around you that enable you to be able to produce your milk. And if you want to know how your milk can disappear, the moment you get back to work, you're able to produce, you're able to breastfeed properly, but the moment you get back to work, you start seeing that your milk is depleting, simply because the environment has changed and there's so much stress and you need to figure out, you have deadlines to meet and all that. So usually what we say for the mothers, if you need to have more milk, the more you breastfeed, or if you're able to express, the more your milk production.
Yeah.
And the more you attach the baby properly to the more you attach your baby properly to the breast, the better. And I think we all go through it when the moment you have your baby and you don't know how to latch your baby, you have it's a stress factor. You know, the baby will be sucking on the nipple and you get the pain, and the baby will sense your pain, and both of you are so tense and all that, and your milk simply disappears. So when it comes to the breastfeeding part, the mother has to understand that your diet plays a very big important role for the growth of the infant, because the infant totally depends on your breast milk. Nothing else. We do not even advocate for giving the baby water or any other medication if prescribed maybe, but it's entirely milk and milk alone. And it means the mother has to be in the right frame of mind. And the right frame of mind means also that your well-being also is catered for. The well-being simply means that, one, you are able to have a schedule that allows you to be able to get your food, and at the same time, is the food available? Is the food safe for you? Because, you know, sometimes maybe you're doing everything for yourself, then you don't have time to wash your vegetables and all that. Then you find that it becomes difficult for you to even prepare your food and all that. So when I like when mothers are able to plan themselves and probably have people around you who are going to help you with the preparation of the food, with the buying of the food and all that. When it comes to your diet, it is very simple. We will have a balanced diet. A balanced diet consists of we have your proteins, which would be either the plant or the animal protein, and then we have your starch.
Okay.
Your
So what are you
starch
holding right now?
This is rice.
Okay.
So rice, chapati,
Waru.
bananas, potatoes,
Waru,
pasta. Yes, waru.
yes. I say waru because,
This is an energy-giving food, and because
Yes.
you're breastfeeding, you need more energy. And remember, at the back of your mind, you also want to lose weight. So the more you breastfeed, the more you lose weight. And we say when you're breastfeeding, you have a very high chance of losing up to about 5 kilos. So the more you breastfeed, the better for you. So the energy-giving foods have to be there. And because that infant, their milk has to have the right amount of proteins, carbohydrate, then it means that you're also taking in enough. So my advice usually is for the mothers, do not start other than taking your fluids and all that in the morning, because you breastfed the whole night. As she said, she breastfeeds more at night. So it means you have run out of your of your stock, of your stores and all that. So the first meal that you need to take in the morning is usually food. You know, so don't start with the uji and the tea and the like. Start with a proper meal, and a proper meal will consist of your starch, your proteins, and your vegetables at the end of it.
What is that?
This is pumpkin. Yep. So your vegetables will be half of the plate. Quarter of the plate is your starch, and the other quarter is going to be your protein. Please note, and for it to work well, it means that you're also adding other things. For example, remember your calcium was depleted at that particular time. So you have to always have a glass or two of milk or yogurt into your diet. And then other than that, we have our fruits, which also have to, come into the diet. So you're simply working on a balanced diet. And the portions means that, when you talk about portions, everybody is imagining that you need to, when it comes to portion control, people want to look at it differently, because look at us, we serve our starch more, little vegetables, and more of the protein. So we work the other way around, because you're looking at losing your weight at the same time and also making sure that you're also able to get enough. And remember, during your pregnancy and even after your pregnancy, you still have a very high chance of getting constipated and getting even hemorrhoids. So what do? You increase your fiber intake. Your fiber intake will be increased by the vegetables that you take in, and also from your fruits. And the fruits, we're not talking about taking smoothies. Some people don't want to eat the fruit whole. They want to blend everything, put the green vegetables and in it and all that. And the only thing that I would advise is try as much as possible, eat your fruits whole. And even the addition of, the way you put the green vegetables, please remember the green vegetables came from the shamba, and there was pesticides and there were herbicides, so you're taking them in the raw form. So make sure whatever needs to be cooked has to be cooked. And because we're looking at food safety, make sure that your food is always clean, because the moment you eat something that is contaminated, what happens? You get a bout of diarrhea, affects your milk production. Your infant, it means we have to introduce something else to cover up for the period that you'll be sick and all that. So we have to really work on the portions, knowing that, and the balanced diet, knowing that your infant depends on you. Whatever you are eating is what your infant is also taking in.
Okay, we continue with the conversation that is fitness and nutrition for pre and post mothers, and we are taking your questions. Remember, those numbers at the bottom of your screen, you can reach us. And speaking of which, I am told we have Ibrahim from Kisumu with a question, or is it a comment? Ibrahim?
How are you, Gladys?
Well, thank you.
How are you?
Tuko salama sana. What's your question or your comment?
My question is,
Yes.
when a woman delivers, we're usually told that we give her him, especially that brand, alcohol him, at least a cup.
When the woman delivers, you're told to do what?
To give her him, the Guinness brand.
Aha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, Have you done this yourself?
Yes, inside I even saw my mom doing it.
And how did it help?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
Okay, thank you for your question, Ibrahim. I think that
And it's a very good question Ibrahim has brought up.
Yeah.
The thing about Giris, they were saying that inaosha tumbo. After you had the baby, then it helps to expel everything. But please remember, after you had the baby, when you had that baby, the work of your gyna is to ensure that everything that was pertaining to the pregnancy is cleaned out. So this thing about taking the Guinness does not work. And remember, you're taking in alcohol, and alcohol has an effect. It will be transmitted to your breast milk.
Yes.
So in other words, what are we introducing to the infant? So in other words, where I'm getting to also is, when you're pregnant, alcohol, cigarette smoking, even after you've delivered the baby, you are not even allowed to taste a glass of wine, be it a sip or whatever. You're not supposed to take, because it directly goes to your milk,
to the baby.
Yeah. So it is what we're talking about, the myths, the myths, and how we need to we need to carry ourselves. And you see, these are things that we say they are their knowledge, attitudes, practices that we put in place over time. Do they work? No. Anything has to be prescribed through your doctor.
Okay, and even as we're talking about the things that work or do not work, I know you will be told by people, do not go to the gym as long as you're breastfeeding at least the first 6 months, because the strain can tell your body you're going through stress and the milk can disappear. True or false from your experience? Anthony,
it's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there. Remember, when you come to the gym, it is more of we usually tell even clients when they come to the gym, once you've come in and you've changed, leave everything at your locker room, your phone, your troubles, and come to that place of solace.
Okay.
Why? Because even when I'm giving you certain exercise to do, and you're thinking, what will my baby have? What will my baby eat? Remember, this is all about you. you're trying to distress and just get. Remember, as the doctor will tell us, is a lot of women undergo a lot during that 9-month period.
Yes.
So it's the only time that they get to build and just be able to release. We've heard of many cases whereby women get into a situation whereby, yes, they just deliver their baby and then they go all. It changes. It basically changes their whole perception and mental status. So what we tell them is just come to the gym, work out. Now, it does not have to be 2 hours. It does not have to be 3 hours, because most of them will come in and they say, I want to cut I need my stomach to go down. So we tell them, come in, just do for yourself, work for yourself. Just give yourself 30 minutes to 45 minutes, an hour plus.
Okay.
And you're good.
All right. Before we give our last comments, before we wrap up, I'm told Jane and Anne from Ruiru. Did we lose them?
Hello.
Hi. Who are we speaking to? Is it Jane or Anne?
This is Anne from Ruiru.
Yes. What's your question or comment?
My question is
Yes.
about deficiency. How will I know what kind of deficiency I'm lacking? And is there any supplements that I can be taking now that I'm a mother of 2 and my baby is 8 months now? Is there any supplements that I can take to because I feel like I'm lacking either iron or calcium.
Okay, so I think the question here, Anne, to you is, are you still going for your clinics?
No, the clinic I go is just for the baby, but for mine, I don't. And another question
Yes.
is, say I've told you I'm a mother of 2.
Yes.
Every time I give birth, I've noticed I'm growing thinner each and every day. Why? And what can I do about it? Because me, I want to be fat.
Oh, wow. You have the opposite problem, eh? Yeah. Okay, but do you have a gynae?
No.
So after baby, you never went back to see your gynae?
No.
All right. Thank you, Anne, for calling us. Now, clearly, you had already addressed the fact that you would know about your deficiencies if you keep in touch with your gynae, right? Okay. Now, maybe you can talk about how weight loss instead of weight gain.
First and foremost, Anne, I think what is important for Anne is for Anne to go back to hospital. So because she's simply told us that after she had the baby, she's never gone back to the gynae. There's so many things that the gynae will look for, and there's so many tests that will be run after you had the baby, because we're never sure after you had the baby if you went through a lot of blood loss, and plus we need to cover up for anything that is deficient in your body, because if the mother is not healthy, then it means also she's not taking care of the baby properly. You know, anything that affects you mentally definitely will affect everything that you do, including taking care of your baby. So for Anne, I think the best advice is for her to go back to hospital, because we cannot actually tell that you have this deficiency unless it is tested. And if it comes to supplementation, we know that we're working with supplementation, and it's just only for a certain period. And other than the supplementation, is your diet sufficient? What is Anne eating? So that after she's had the baby, she's simply losing the weight. Does she have help? Because most of us assume that we'll be super women. After you've had the baby, you don't need to have a house help, you don't need somebody to help you. You want to wake up in the morning, maybe you even have other kids, you want to prepare them by 4 a.m. to go to school. After that, you come back, you want to mop the house, you want to cook food, you want to take care of the baby.
In short, you just want to be a woman.
And you want to be a woman. And the thing is, if you look at most of the studies that have been done, women generally their health is usually poor, simply because we are focused into making sure that everything in the house and your family, they're all fine. So you'll find the women usually are of smaller frames in the body, in the family, simply because even the time that they get to sit down and eat is not there. And remember, she's still breastfeeding also. So the infant will not lack. The infant will take what it requires. Then she's the one who remains with that problem. So this weight loss, we have to look at it. Are you eating a balanced diet? Are you having at least 3 balanced diets, meaning your breakfast, lunch, and dinner compromises of the carbohydrates, the proteins, your vitamins and minerals from your fruits and vegetables. And then after that, do you have mini snacks in between? And the other thing is sometimes when you look at when you look at most homes, are we even able to provide for the simple foods that we need? Maybe you are more on maybe what you can get is the skuma wiki and ugali and that's all. So you're lacking the protein. So when you lack the proteins, definitely there's nothing for bodybuilding. So she really needs to figure out and try as much as possible, work with what is available. And I would advise her also to visit the nearest health center to her, because there we have the expertise. We have programs that can also help to ensure that she can gain back her weight.
Okay, now Lillian is back in studio. The baby needed to be fed. And even as we close this conversation, there has been conversations about you're eating well, you are breastfeeding, you are taking care of yourself, but your milk is low, so you supplement. We've had of dill seeds, we've had of fenugreek seeds, you've been told to take moringa. What has been your experience, Lillian, even as we close?
I've never had a supply of milk, so
You're one of those that never had to struggle, okay?
Yeah.
All right, but in terms of nutrition, what would you actually encourage mothers to keep in mind?
just to take a lot of porridge. And
This is what we have said we don't need to do, but it works for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and soup
Yeah.
and a lot of greens.
But also the part that you also need to tell guys is that you do a lot of exercises,
Yes.
right? Within the house.
Yes.
So again, she's not sedentary, she does something about her food. Okay, thank you, Lillian. And Joanne, even as we close, have you had to supplement to get more milk?
With my first child, yes, I did. After 6 months, yes, I did introduce formula. Yes, but with my second, I didn't. I just breastfed till she stopped at around 1 year. Yes, with this one also, I don't want to have a budget of buying formula, which is extremely expensive.
Expensive, true.
Yeah, so I want to breastfeed until the time the child will be able to stop.
So the dill seeds, fenugreek, moringa, have you tried any of those?
No. I've
Yeah.
never tried them, the dill seeds and the fenugreek and
Yeah.
moringa and lactation cookies.
Yes, they are
There's so
so
much. There's
Yeah.
even now cakes that are for lactating mothers.
Yes.
I've never tried them. For me, as I said before, my trick has always been hydrating and just having the peace of mind in a relaxed environment to enable me have more supply of milk, of
Okay.
breast milk.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, I thank you so much for your time. Lillian, with only mom to a 3-month-old. Of course, she's a mother to another one. And we have Joanne Ogutu, pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and is a mother of 2 others. And of course, Belinda Nyakiti, who is a nutritionist, and Anthony Minor, personal trainer and fitness instructor. Before we say goodbye, let's do some exercises, yeah, so that we can supplement the conversation with what we were talking about.
Okay, good. So what I request is, I want us to work on our upper body just a little bit, okay? So for you, what I'll ask you is, you'll just move to the chair.
Do we bring it to the middle,
we'll
maybe?
bring it,
Okay. We can have this maybe here.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to work on our arms just a little bit. Another question that we usually ask. So what do I do to my arms?